celebrate Easter Sunday, those seeking political office is advised to rely on God's power for success. Eket senatorial district elders and leaders reiterate resolve to vote for Udom Emmanuel on Saturday's election. The urges the world to pray for peace as he celebrates Easter Sunday. Details shortly. A very good morning to you. Happy Easter. It's Channel 45 News at dawn. I am Akaniyene Upo. Elders and leaders from Eket Senatorial District have reiterated their support and solidarity to the candidature of their son and PDP governorship candidate Mr. Udom Emmanuel ahead of Saturday's governorship election. Correspondents report that they stated their stand at a stakeholders meeting in Eket.
Elders who cut across all the 12 local government areas of the 3 federal constituencies in the district noted that the outcome of the last elections, Akwa Ibom should hold their heads high for their near 100% support for the PDP, which saw the emerging victorious in all the National Assembly seats in the state. The chairman on the occasion and former Minister of Lands and Housing, Chief Ndu Esesien, said the senatorial district will not miss the opportunity that has come its after 25 years, adding that they will leave no stone unturned in acquiring vote for the in the governorship and House of Assembly elections.
The governorship of this state had been zoned, and it was agreed that it should stay in Eket Senatorial District. It is not now that we can waver on that. We have to go on and ensure that we deliver our son as the governor.
Also speaking, the state deputy governor, Lady Vala Rebe, commended the Eket Senatorial District stakeholders for their unity and cooperation, adding that such bonding, which saw the success of the party in the senatorial district during the recent National Assembly election, will translate to another round of victory for the party in the state on April 11.
And if you fail to drink this water that is contained in the golden cup, and you move out to drink water that is contained in any ordinary material, you have yourself to blame.
For the Eket Federal Constituency, retired General Anthony Etugudo said Eket people had always supported PDP governorship candidates from other senatorial districts of the state since inception and will vote overwhelmingly for Mr. Udom Emmanuel. Others who spoke included Barrister Jerry Akpan, a former commissioner for economic development, who spoke in Ikorabasi Federal Constituency, Barrister Peter Linus Umo, a former speaker of the State House of Assembly. For Oran Federal Constituency, Mr. Friday Udoyuk, the House of Representative member-elect for Ikorabasi Federal Constituency. The district senator-elect, Chief Nelson Effiong, has the Minister of Lands and Housing, Mr. Ako Nayai. They all maintain that Udom Emmanuel's experience and his antecedents in the private and public sector, coupled with his perfect blueprints, had created in him a perfect brand that was going to make Akwa Ibom an enviable economic hub in Africa. Responding, Mr. Udom Emmanuel thanked the stakeholders for their support and promised that he would never disappoint the state when elected. He sued for electorate during and after the elections.
As Christians, they say everything that happens to us we must give thanks, that all things work for good for those that love the Lord and are called according to his purpose.
Members Nigerian Automobile Technicians Association in Akwa Ibom State have endorsed the PDP governorship candidate Mr. Udom Emmanuel as sole candidate for Saturday governorship elections. The association, which made its position known in Uyo at the rally, said its decision was predicated on Mr. Udom's pedigree in the private and public sectors. The report of the rally is here presented.
Addressing the rally, the state chairman of the association, Mr. Aloysius John, said Akwa Ibom State needs a sound economic technocrat like Mr. Udom Emmanuel to man the affairs of the state. Mr. John, who pledged the support of members to rally around the PDP governorship candidate in the coming elections, that the visible transformation recorded by Governor Akpabio must be sustained and consolidated. He has optimism that with Udom Emmanuel as next governor, automobile industry in the state would move to the next level.
The Imagi decide, we agree. Again, there's no other party to take us away apart from PDP. The technicians in the whole 31 local governments are here to endorse that we will never put any other party apart from PDP. And we will stand by PDP to deliver Udom Moses come 11.
The Director General of Udom Moses Campaign Council, Otuekong Idohasen Nkanga, commended the Automobile Association for its foresight and steadfastness with PDP, noting that Udom is the right candidate to manage the affairs of the state. Otuekong Nkanga said, with Udom at the saddle, investors will come and explore the rich potentials of the state.
There is no basis for comparison. PDP is Akwa Ibom and Akwa Ibom is PDP. So there is no shaking.
The governorship candidate, Mr. Moses Ekpo, who represented Mr. Udom Emmanuel, thanked members of the Nigeria Automobile Technician Association for the endorsement, stressing that with the joint ticket of Udom Moses, Akwa Ibom State will witness tremendous development. Mr. Ekpo called on all to rally round PDP to succeed in the April 11 poll, even as he reaffirmed the determination of Udom Emmanuel to sustainable development, job creation, industrialization, and enabling environment for businesses to thrive.
An exquisite banker, an international banker. About investment, about training. An accomplished man, very accomplished. So that ticket Moses Ekpo had a unique ticket for Akwa Ibom at this point in time.
The village head of Afanfort, Etedong David Etuk, assured the Udom Moses campaign organization of the total support of his people for the success of PDP in next Saturday's election. Others who spoke included the candidate for Uyo State constituency, Mr. Monde Eyo, youth and members of the Automobile Association from Uyo, Eket, and Ikot Senatorial districts, who pledged to queue behind Udom Emmanuel to succeed.
The aspiration of the People's Democratic Party governorship candidate for Akwa Ibom, Mr. Udom Gabriel Emmanuel, has again received divine blessings ahead of this Saturday's election. Mr. Udom Emmanuel on Easter Sunday worshipped at Akwa Ibom Church, Uyo Township, number 2, Olusegun Obasanjo Way. Etienne Ebanga was there.
Addressing the church, the People's Democratic Party governorship candidate, Udom Emmanuel, himself a deacon of the church, expressed delight to share with the congregation the joy of Christ's resurrection. Mr. Emmanuel said he was in the church to seek more divine blessing in view of the assignment before him. He assured that as a firm believer in God's precepts, he was of the belief that without divine backing, one's aspiration is in vain. He commended the church for its steadfast prayer and used the occasion to urge all Christians to support a fearing leader that will take Akwa Ibom to the next level. The General Superintendent of Akwa Ibom Church Nigeria, Reverend Sunday Essien, thanked the governorship candidates for his love to the church, noting that God gives leadership position and places of honor. While assuring of continuous prayers of the church, Reverend Essien urged those seeking political offices to remain faithful and rely only in God's power for success.
No power from the science can give you victory, but it is only the power of God. He said, God bless you. God give you the desires of your heart and the desires of our heart. He deserves glory. He In Jesus' name.
Receiving the governorship candidates on behalf of the church, the chairman, Elder Odo Samudo, presented the Holy Bible to him for divine direction.
This Bible will have everything you need, and we pray that the Almighty God should abide with you in Jesus' name.
Elder Samudo noted that though the church is non-partisan, it is good for Christians to pray God to give Akwa Ibom the right leader. Men of God, led by the Church General Superintendent and the congregation, prayed, committing Saturday's elections into God's care. Highlights of the service was a special thanksgiving led by the governorship candidates Udom Emmanuel and his entourage. Etienne Oibanga report.
Christians in Akwa Ibom State joined their counterparts the world over to celebrate Easter Sunday, which commemorates the resurrection of Jesus Christ. Correspondent Livingston Daniel, who visited some churches in Uyo Metropolis, reports that Christians were in high spirit, while messages centered on Christ's resurrection. His report.
At the Zion Deliverance Life Church, Uyo, the congregation was in a high spirit, singing, praise and dancing. They celebrate Jesus' victory over death. In an interview, Apostle Sylvester Udokan said that Jesus' resurrection has reaffirmed Christian belief that God is supreme.
On the third day, He is resurrecting today, and that is why we are celebrating.
At the Word Power Gospel City, Uyo, the church choir render a peace unto God in His homily of the significance of Easter. Evangelist A. Anyeten Tabasi said, through one man, Adam, sin entered into the world, hereby destroying the cordial relationship between man and God. The clergyman emphasized that for mankind to be redeemed, a blood must be shed, hence the need for Jesus Christ to come and die for us, as prophesied by prophet Daniel.
That a time coming, a king will come. The Bible says in the book of Isaiah, chapter number 9, verse 6, unto us a child was born, unto us a son is given, and the government shall be upon his shoulder.
At the Central African Church, its congregation displayed various dance steps. In an interview, the minister in charge of the church, Reverend Clement Jimmy, reminded Christians that Jesus Christ paid the ultimate sacrifice for them and admonished them to respect the gesture by living a godly life.
And today is that day that is being celebrated worldwide, that Christ resurrected. And that's why you see the church is very happy, because the resurrection of Christ has given hope to the church.
At the church number 2, Olusegun Obasanjo Way, the general superintendent of the church, Reverend Sunday Sien, emphasized that the resurrection of Jesus Christ confirmed his victory over death. The Reverend Sien mentioned that the brought Jesus Christ back to life is available to bring spiritual dead cells back to life. The clergyman whose message anchored on the benefits of Christ's resurrection listed as an eternal life has some benefits Christians derive from Jesus' resurrection.
It is a great benefit to the Christian because the resurrection of Christ declares that whatever the Scripture says is true and must be fulfilled.
At the church in Yongford district, the congregation was in the season. At Life Gate Dominion Church number 3, Afaitu Lane, Uyo, the church sang an old Easter tune. Livingston Daniel.
It's Channel 45 News at dawn. We now take a break. We'll be right back. Stay with us.
This is a public service announcement. The government of Akwa Ibom State wishes to bring to the notice of visitors and residents of the state steps to take in preventing the incidence or spread of the deadly Ebola virus disease in Akwa Ibom State. The Ebola virus can be contacted through any of the following ways: contact with the body fluids of those who are visibly sick from the disease, contact with the corpse of somebody who died from the disease, contact with an animal that is carrying the virus, especially fruit bats and monkeys. Symptoms of this deadly disease include sudden high fever, persistent headache, diarrhea, vomiting, general weakness, joint and muscle ache, sore throat, chest pain, internal and external bleeding. To prevent this disease, wash your hands regularly with soap and water. Keep your environment clean and properly fumigate your surroundings if you have pests around. Report any suspicious symptoms in yourself or anyone to the nearest health facility immediately you notice them. Medical personnel should use personal protective equipment when handling suspected cases and corpses. Be careful when handling dead bushmeat. Spread the message. Tell your neighbors, colleagues, domestic staff, family members and friends. Akwa Ibom is safer when everyone is educated about Ebola. For more information, call the helplines 0812-769-8984, 0812-769-8959, 0812-769-8949. Ebola kills fast. Spread this message faster. This message is brought to you by the Ministry of Information and Communications, Akwa Ibom State.
So good to have you back. In Christian teachings, God sent His Son Jesus Christ to die in order to reconcile with mankind. This is why Easter is marked globally by Christians to remember the death and sufferings of Christ and to appreciate God for the redemption. It is proven that love was the reason that God redeemed humanity through His beloved Son, and for Christians to reciprocate such love, sacrifice must be made. Sacrifice is an act of giving that which one wants to keep as an offering. The only one, according to the scriptures, that attempted sacrificing a human to God was Abraham, while the one that paid the ultimate price was Jesus. In a quest to know how sober Christians are for the sacrifice done on their behalf by their Redeemer Jesus, Eya and Paul sampled the people's opinion on what sacrifice they can make to reciprocate the love of God. I report.
According to the scriptures, it is only love that made God give His Son to save mankind, and this kind of love is rare. Atonement for sins was done with lamb, sheep, goat, and dove. Even then, some homes found it difficult to provide these items for sacrifice. God needed more than atonement for man, and reconciliation and salvation. Feature not be made by the blood of sheep or that of the goat, and the sins of Adam caused man to be distant from God. Adam was driven out of Eden because of the flesh caused by Satan in form of a snake. Cherubim and seraphim were kept in the Garden of Eden. For the garden to be retrieved, the sacrifice was needed to atone the sin at the Garden of Eden. The Bible has it that when the heavens were summoned on, even the angels were quiet. Only Jesus was willing to do the sacrifice of reuniting with God.
On a hill far away stood an old rugged cross, the emblem of suffering and shame. And I love that old cross, where the dearest and best for a world of lost sinners was slain.
Jesus knew what will befall him before coming to God, but he can give to another for love's sake and for the sins they never committed.
I don't die for anybody. Me, I can't die for anybody.
That it is not possible to somebody to die the kind of death that Jesus died. You know?
Exception him. because ubia ro nyini kabaro e rezo ru pe ifien aso obia ibara ke America na moto mporo ke rimboro.
Well, it is not possible as a human being. You know, Jesus Christ died as a spirit.
I don't think I can do it.
You can do what?
I can't die for a fellow human being.
What is the significance of the death of Christ to Christians, especially on offering sacrifices? If Christ died for man's sin, should man continue sinning that grace may abound? What are those sacrifices the children should do to emulate the Savior?
So love your enemy, love your neighbor, and let them know that Christ died for their sins.
Good love for one another are the way the Christ have shown to us.
What is another thing we should do?
Go with the harm giving. That is the corporal work of mercy. Harm giving to visit the motherless baby home, other mobile manor, and visit the prison to show the love through kindness.
At least by going from house to house, going to the less privileged home, it is part of concern about what Jesus did.
You only go out, tell people about Christ because it's only Christ that can sacrifice himself for the world.
It comes and goes, but the world still remains. Man does not have a changed heart, and every day new Christ resurfaces. What does that mean to you?
Cherish the old rugged cross, till my trophies at last I lay down. I will cling to the old rugged cross, and exchange it someday for a crown.
The death of Christ, the real significance of Easter. Youths in the Niger region are undergoing training that would develop their entrepreneurial skills in their own airtime business. Organized by the Niger Delta Development Commission (NDDC), the training began in February 2015 will last for 3 months. The managing director of NDDC, Barrister Basit Danabia, while addressing participants of the training program, said the exercise is to sharpen their skills in the sales of recharge cards. According to him, the business of recharge cards amounts to 3 billion naira per day in Nigeria, adding that NDDC decided to empower the youths in the Niger Delta region to start their business. Represented by Akwa Ibom State representative in the board of the commission, Engineer Eteminyang Jr., Barrister Abia said NDDC intends to raise millionaires among the participants, pointing out that a participant could make a turnover of 50,000 naira a month.
Also during the training, talked about the need for monitoring, which means they're going to check how you folks are progressing and try and give you a push to succeed. That also means we are looking at the aspect of mentoring. Mentoring is to nurture you and make sure that the dreams, the aspiration that NDDC has concerning raising millionaires through you as well as other sources or other outlets through which NDDC is reaching out to people will succeed.
In a lecture, Dr. Tunde Ren of Credit Switch said that what kills small business in Nigeria is bad habit and bad attitude. He charged the participants to develop the right attitude and right habit towards their business.
And you sold 10,000. Are we following? 7,000. Now your profit on each sale is 6%.
Participants were empowered by NDDC with 50,000 naira recharge cards, phones, SIMs, cards, chargers, collapsible tables and chairs, as well as generators to enable them start their businesses. Well, to pray for peace, he celebrates the Easter Mass at St. Peter's Square, the Vatican. Idara Bongse has this another report in our foreign news segment.
Easter of his packet, Pope Francis had conflict zones around the world and an end to the persecution of Christians. After for thousands of people in St. Peter's Square, he delivered a sober message. Victims of violence in Africa, particularly the Christians slaughtered by Islamic rebels targeting Christians. He lamented what he called a complete over anti-Christians attack. He also acknowledged this framework nuclear deal with Iran, a definitive step in the most secure and fraternal war. Survivors of the attack of the Al-Shabaab on a university have been taken by bus from the campus and continue their elsewhere in the country. Declaring 3 days of mourning after Thursday's massacre at the Garissa University, Kenya's President Kenyatta vowed the extremists would not succeed in creating an caliphate. The authorities said 5 men have been arrested over the attack, in which nearly 150 people from the country's Muslims in the anti-terrorism efforts, saying those who financed the atrocities were deeply embedded in the community. The attackers were displayed in Garissa and before an crowd of some 2,000 onlookers. In Nairobi, there was more grief as relatives of those had their loss confirmed. Even though non-Muslims were targeted in that, Muslims were among the dead. Al-Shabaab, linked to the Al-Qaeda, has vowed to carry out more attacks in Kenya, in particular the country's military presence in Somalia. Meanwhile, Al-Shabaab militants have threatened Kenya with further attacks after Thursday's university campus massacre, warning the country's city will run red with blood. A Somalian Islamic group also said no amount of protection or safety measures will be able to guarantee their safety. Another bloodbath from occurring in their city. Made at least 5 arrests and to dawn curfew near the with Somalia, fleeing the rampage by masked Al-Shabaab gunmen. Authorities are under for not preventing the bloodshed at Garissa University College campus, some 200 kilometers from the Somalian border, despite apparent warning of an attack. But measures come too late for those caught up in the massacre. Amid fears, the dead survivors of the rampage have been speaking about their ordeals. Many students flee into the scrubland, scaling barbed wire and jumping off buildings, often half naked, as they were awoken by the gunfire and explosions. Christians were targeted in the 4 gunmen involved are now dead, but despite further attacks by the Somalian Al-Shabaab militants in Kenya, Obama has confirmed his still plans to visit the country later this year. Al-Shabaab says its recent wave of attacks are retribution for Kenya sending troops into Somalia to fight the group alongside other African Union peacekeepers.
You can also watch AKBC TV News online by logging on to akbconline.org or follow us on Twitter at AKBC45 or on Facebook at AKBC Channel 45. To end the news, a look at the top stories. As Christians celebrate Easter Sunday, those seeking political offices have been asked to rely on God's power for success. The General Superintendent of Private Church, Reverend Sandy Essien, gave the advice when the PDP governorship candidate Emmanuel worshipped at Kwaibe Church No. 2 Olusegun Obasanjo Way. We also brought you a report that Pope Francis has urged the world to pray for peace as he celebrated Easter Sunday. That's our package this morning. Thanks so much for being there. Wishing you the best of Easter Monday. Once again, good morning.
best of entertainment, incisive news, captivating and illuminating programs. The latest in politics, in-depth analysis of events, sports, and much more. Keep watching AKBC Channel 45.